Hello and good evening, everyone. Got my little side loads here of my stuff on Twitch and on stream. Give me just a second here. Alright, I think I have myself pulled up an extra place here. Sounding a little louder. Bear with me and welcome to the night shift. Bear with me here. I think my music may have just gotten louder. Here we go. Give me just a second, actually. Let me check my stream. All right, we're looking good on all fronts. Welcome to the night shift. We are going to be closing some tickets tonight. Let me switch to my higher monitor. All right. We are going to be closing some tickets tonight. We're doing good. I'm still a little behind, you know. The holidays kind of wrecked me a little bit, you know. That's fine, though. On the docket for the work portion, not just closing tickets, tonight we're actually going to be working on a mass deployment of Adobe Pro. Now, what I have already done, let me see if I can share an app out with you guys. I'm just gonna keep it simple. We're just gonna keep it with Notepad. Just gonna keep it with the notepads. And I'm just going to share that application just to talk over a few things. I'm waiting for my coworker to get home for us to start a deployment. We've got about 31 machines, probably in the end, probably about 27, maybe 28. We've already handled the installation for a few of the systems. So give me just 1 second. Again, welcome to the night shift. My name is Shayla. I run IT for an MSP, the CIO of that company. We're really, really small, so it doesn't really matter what my title is. I actually hate that I say that every time. I am somebody that is in the meat grinder that is IT work. I work at the help desk level. I work at the intermediate level. I work at the third tier of the help desk. I also function as a network engineer and administrator. I heal the networks. I also do a lot of scripting and group policy management. I'm getting very adept at Intune management. There's lots of things that I do, and I'll continue to share that with you as time goes on. Let's see. We just want to do a window capture. Add existing notepad. Let's see what we got here. Alright. Problem with Notepad is it is just a little too not where I want it to be. Or maybe it was where I wanted it to be. And I just moved it. Hold on. Let me get this back up here. Yeah, let me get that back up to the top. Okay, guys. So today we are working on deployment of Adobe Acrobat. And let me work on my zoom here. All right, Adobe Acrobat Pro. Okay, a couple things. We're doing this. This is for an accounting firm. So some of the products that we have to be aware of that they're using are, let's see, what would we say that those are? There are other products that Acrobat Pro is working in tandem with. I'll just call them tandem apps. Would be, let's see here, PD Flyer, okay, and Engagement. And that is, I don't need a temporary folder. That is Pro System FX Engagement. Okay, I hate the name CCH. Actually, there's more to it. CCH Pro System FX Engagement. And so those are the main products. Some of the other products that end up working in tandem, Lacert, QuickBooks, those all use it. But in this particular deployment, these two products are the most important because they have some plugins that need to be added into the product. Now, again, we get a lot of systems, so the idea here is not to spend a whole lot of time installing on these machines one at a time. You know, what we don't want to do is we don't want to be going back and forth and back and forth. Let me see, where's my... There we go. Switch the layout of that. There we go. That looks way better. I knew I had gotten something in place before. So anyway, welcome to you guys on Twitch and on YouTube. Those are the only places that I am streaming right now. Again, my name is Shayla. I'm here working. I was already going to be doing it. I'm just doing it while streaming and talking about it because I'm lonely and I need friends. So the more people join with me, the better. Ask questions. Typically, light questions during this portion where I'm typically closing my tickets, but tonight I have a project. Let's see here. Let's fill in some more of this. Endpoints. That's we're gonna say approximately 31. Okay. All right. Tandem apps. So we'll just say plugin apps because these are the apps that have plugins in this particular product and this deployment. We're gonna 31 accounting firm. What else do we need to take into consideration? How is this network set up? This is a domain. The network is a domain. Office 365 isn't coming into play here. Software is coming in the form of a subscription. So we already emailed out. To everybody, letting them know that they were, like last week, I think they should have gotten their invitations. If they didn't, that's fine, because we can then just use their email address on the Adobe website, log in, and set their passwords. We're on their system as them, theoretically. So we would be able to check their email if we needed to get the reply. So, you know, basically the verification email when you're first setting it up, if you haven't set up a username and password yet, when you're within a team. So at any rate, I'm waiting for my coworker. We have already pre-planned most of this. So what I've already done, let's see here. So I've got some supporting policies that I've already created. My supporting GPOs effectively do this. I go ahead and set the default for PDFs. Now I don't have any other products that I'm managing defaults for. Otherwise, I would have added that default information to that policy. I don't have one of those policies at this environment. So this is the first policy that manages default application default app for PDF as Adobe, and we'll go over that possibly. I don't know. Set default apps for that. We also have a policy that sets program options, security options, and locks them. And we'll see. I'll show you that if I can. Let's see here, and let's see. Then and then I also have a installation GPO, software deployment, I guess is the better way to put that. Software deployment policy. So okay, so we've got all those things. All right. So that's super neat, supporting GPOs. The deployment policy I used because of one thing in particular, one reason in particular. When I was doing some manual installations for one of my end users, what I found was that the PD Flyer plugin did not run properly running the 64-bit edition of Acrobat. Not only did it not load it, but if I don't know if this happened on the 64-bit, but definitely on the 32, if certain options aren't set properly, it makes Acrobat extremely unstable. And by extremely unstable, I mean I can't use it. It won't open. So have to be leery of that, of the timing of my deployment for that reason. Okay, so again, my issues. What I found was that because of 32-bit is required. Okay, so that's one thing. Because of PD Flyer, 32-bit is required. What else did I have to consider? Order of installation. So what I had to be aware of was that I needed to make sure that the old Acrobat is removed first. How about order of setup config? So first, I have to do the old Acrobat removal. I have to do that first because otherwise the other installation complains when you're installing it. And I see that there's a variance of what's installed, 64-bit and the 32. Now, by default, when you go to install it, when you do the download, just like with Office nowadays, it does the 64-bit installation. But it does not work with PD Flyer. Engagement does have 64-bit mechanisms. It's a little bit different. There's two files you have to copy. One is the broker, and one is the API file that you have to copy when you're using 64-bit. If you're just using engagement and you're not using PD Flyer, 64-bit should be no problem. It just takes an extra file copy. But if you're using PD Flyer and you're using engagement, then you're going to have to knock it down a notch to 32 if you're using the version that we are using. Sweet. My coworker's ready. Give me just 1 second. Let's see. Tell her I'm explaining this to no one on my stream because nobody's listening. But I know people will watch after the fact. And again, I promise I will be cleaning up this video. I felt pretty bad last week. It's part of the reason why I didn't come in on Thursday. A mixture of not feeling so great. And if you heard Tuesday's stream, you would have heard me basically sounding like a nose. I sounded more like a nose on Thursday, and I, again, just wasn't in the right headspace. This is my first year. I'm just getting committed to it. I'm just building up my skill set. I'm just putting things out here. I'm not pressuring myself too much, especially since people aren't out here. But the more regular I can be, of course, too, lull the algorithm into thinking that I'm worth putting out there is my end goal. So anyway, old Acrobat removal has to be the first of the things that I do so that it doesn't complain about the second installation. If I've already installed, or if the end user has already installed 64-bit Acrobat, then that needs to be removed. How about we just say all Acrobat removal? That includes the old version, and if we've side installed the new version and the old version. Again, I kind of did that for a few of them because I wasn't sure what was going to break, and what I didn't have time for was just a mass disruption in the middle of tax season. No bueno. So at any rate, all of the Acrobat removal of the products, and then, and the reason I had to consider this timing, engagement needs to be installed. I needed to remember this timing because this setup process is relevant for creating a new computer. So whatever steps I'm doing for this, I want to make sure that any automation is such that it is, I don't have things going out of control or out of pocket, running when I don't want them to run, simply because I haven't considered the fact that I might not just be doing this from, we're shifting them to a new Acrobat from an old Acrobat versus, you know, we are creating a new computer. What can we do? So what I've done is so to add to those steps, I have to make sure that engagement is installed, or install engagement. The other thing that we have to do is, I'm trying to think, make sure engagement is installed. Yeah, that's pretty much it. 32-bit. So the order is all Acrobat removal, engagement installed, install engagement. Just a second. And then after that, we would do a group policy update. Now, I am releasing this policy, the installation policy, into the wild tonight. So I will definitely need to do the GP update because I'll be running in it. But after this, after we take care of it for everybody, just de facto, you get on the domain, you got a computer, it's going to get Acrobat. Period. End of story. If you're not licensed for it, then that's something that we need to take up with partners. Anyway, GP update. Wow. I'm good. Fourth thing, reboot. After the reboot, as it's booting, Acrobat installs. Now I'm doing a mixture of RMM, Datto RMM management, and group policy management here. So some of this stuff is just better handled within the organization. Like, I don't want to do this Acrobat installation. First and foremost, there is an Acrobat install, but then you have to wait for it to do the upgrade. I've already downloaded from Adobe the full package, 32-bit. That's the only way you can get it. So I've already downloaded that package. Let's see, reboot, Adobe installs, or Acrobat installs, and then I'm going to use the RMM after I do the stuff that's being handled on site. My RMM is still going to be referencing internal location. So my last bit is file copies, and I'm doing that via an RMM component, a PowerShell script in an RMM component that does the file copies, and it copies the API and, in some instances, DLL files to from their original locations where they're stored on the server for copying for these purposes to the plugins directory of Adobe Acrobat. And that is how we square it all away. Once that's all done, then the next time the user opens up Adobe Acrobat, if we can, we'll have already logged in as them. If not, they just have to log in, but we know that their plugins will be loaded and will work properly. the GP update, not it again, it handles a couple things, and I already mentioned it on the other. It is going to set reg keys to configure sec settings, and I'll let you know what those are in a minute. It is then going to lock the upper half of the settings, and it is also going to it's going to basically force the system endpoint to recognize the policy. Okay, which is part of the reason why we're doing the reboot afterward, because it's not like they've been reading this. It's not like their systems have been reading this policy all week. They haven't. I've been testing it on isolated systems, so right now my group policy is set such that the scope is just to those specific machines. Delegation indicates that all users can read the policy. They cannot apply policy. That keeps errors from happening. All right, so now what I'm about to do is reach out to my coworker. I'm also going to, I just realized I restarted before I got started on this because the freaking resources on my computer are spent by the time my day is done. Sweet, she's done the wise thing. Let's see. Front desk, PCO3, just how to use her on it. Working? It may be that these users won't be done until 6:30. Okay, I expect that 6:30 might still be their cutoff. Let's... Sure. Yeah. It might be... Let's uninstall where we can and mark it. Alpha sort by host. Yours should be at the top. I'll take the bottom. All right. Coolio. All right, so now I am logging into my Kaseya products. Duo everywhere. I need a soundboard that has me screaming with an echo. Duo everywhere. Something like that. All right, let me load up my RMM. And I'm going to talk you through it because, again, I can't show you this stuff. I can't reveal this information about my clients. But I can walk you through it as best as I can. And like I said, if you have any issues, you have any questions, hit me up. I'm right here. This is live. So message me. Or if you hit me up, if you watch this after the fact and you have some questions about how I came to, how I planned this stuff out, how I implemented it, blah, 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 hit me up at holla at MSPBackline.com. I would be happy to reply to your inquiries. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna filter my view of these desktops to only see the units that are online. I'm alpha sorted, so I am going to initiate my connection with these machines through the agent browser, and I'll tell you why. I like to initiate my through the agent browser because if I need to do like ultra advanced commands, I can see that it can be done from here, but also in that moment that I connect, I see just a micro of what's going on in the machine. Yeah, if I click on web remote, I'll see that no person is logged on, or someone is and is locked, or someone is, but I like to have that up because I will sometimes, if I need to, use the log off command from a remote command prompt to end that session for that user. Okay, first thing I'm going to check is I'm going to take a look at the application list, the software list on the back end here, and see if these Adobe products that I have will allow me to uninstall from the console, and it looks like it is. So I'm gonna check that out. And let's see here. Let's see Adobe Air, and I don't see the Adobe Genuine. Yeah, I do see the Adobe Genuine service on this one, so I'll have to go back through these anyway. Or not. It does not matter. The removal of the genuine service, it really doesn't matter at all. No, I don't know. Some other tool installed that you may be able to push button the removal of Acrobat in the console, or bulk select and use the MSI removal component by name. All right, so I've got that going. I'm gonna see how that uninstall goes. Uninstall MSI software by GUID. By software GUID, this is running. We'll see how it does. I'm gonna go ahead and my goal, honestly, if I would like to do as much of this as possible without logging onto that computer. If I don't have to log onto that machine, I'm not gonna do it. Okay? A lot of the reason why I like to do that if I can is because then I don't confuse the user when they come in and they don't. These people, we don't have that problem with them. But I always like to flex my plex and work that muscle out, work that ghost in the machine muscle out, that ability to do or have affect on a person's problem without actually interrupting their day. This is, of course, going to require a reboot, so that is inherently an interruption. But other than that, I still like to keep those skills sharp. All right, so let's see what we got here. I'm going to refresh this job. My coworker's probably running faster than me because she's not. But I'm going to see if this works. If this does remove it from the machine, then I'm going to bulk remove Adobe Acrobat from all of the other machines. And then, that'll be freaking awesome. Let's go. Success. The command was sent. But the error was, the item has already been added, keeping added. I don't even know what that means. That error doesn't make any sense. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to now I am going to log in as the user because I want to use this as an opportunity to see whether or not it worked. Yes, I'm sure when I exit, because we told you guys, close your stuff. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Let's go to apps. This game. got rid of it. Nice. Okay, so there's this and there's that. So, and then it should be getting rid of the MUI. I'm going to cache these names. So I'm using the uninstall the MSI by name, basically standard, and then the other installation that I kicked off was activities. That worked. That's great. This one right here. Okay, so I've got those two to remove. I'm not worried about anything else. Okay, so here we go. All right, so I'm going to go back to my list where alpha sorted. I'm going to grab, what is it? 36. 15, 18. So 17, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so, but, let's see, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna do this on all of them. Okay, blah, 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 blah. All right, so for all of these 17, 2406. Let's see, stopping at. She's doing all the HP and RPC XX. All right, here we go. So I've selected all of these. So now I'm going to go to my dots and I'm going to run a job. Create a job. Adobe removal. And then I'm going to choose a component. The component that I'm going to choose is I do a search for MSI. And then I look for the uninstall MSI software. Component that I look for is this. This is Datto ARM. All right, and then I put in this name. So I'm gonna run it 2 times. I'm gonna run it. The program's name. We're gonna choose to uninstall the app. So you get a couple of options there. I don't know if you can. And then I'm going to add that same component again. And now I'm going to take this product. And if it fails because it doesn't have it, so what? The worst that's going to happen is it's not going to uninstall that product. But I'm going to run it against these machines. I'm going to run it immediately. I'm going to click this job and then confirm that, of course, so smart, takes me back to all devices. I hate that it doesn't take me back to at least the subset of devices I was looking for. Or looking at before. All right, so now I'm gonna select one of those machines that I threw that job to. I'm gonna go down to activities, and then I'm gonna wait for that activity to become available. And so now what I've done is by doing this, my goal is to have kept me from having to log on to 17 different PCs. Okay? And what I might also do is I might also, let's see. I think I'm gonna add another window capture. And it's gonna be Snagit. I'm gonna do Snagit as one of my window captures. Because even like maybe I can't show you guys something, but I might be able to open up my editor and show that to you. select a window. It's gonna be my snag and editor. Match. Seem executable. All right. All right, I want the Cash App in front of the... Oh, I think I know what the problem is. The app, it puts it all the way at the top. Sorry, guys. Bear with me here. I'm filling time anyway. I'm waiting for a job to run. Expand this. Under the Cash App, so we can still see that. And for right now, we're gonna hide that, snag it, and let's actually let's show it. All right, cool. Where's my snag it? All right. All right, so just so you know, the policy that I set out for Adobe, this is what it takes care of. It disables the ability to enable or disable this, but it disables it first. Make sure that protective view is off. Enables the enhanced security mode, and then there's a path that ends up getting listed there by virtue of the group policy. So that is what ends up getting taken care of by the policy. I'm going to bring my notebook back to view. I didn't mean to hide my Cash App. And let me check the status of this job. It is running for everybody. I got successes on all the runs. So far, we've got 12 successes, 9 running. This is very nice. This is very, very nice. Okay, so let me see how Coworker's doing. One big. I'm gonna check. And so after it does this, what it should do, and we're down to 4 running, 17 success. What it should do is after it's done running this, it should do a software audit. Which should update the software list for the application for the endpoint, indicating that endpoint does no longer has these products on them. Looks like we're clear on the successes. Just to be on the safe side, let me see if I can do that from here. No, it's not gonna let me do it from here. But I know which ones I got. I did all the units that have WK. Sec. Did all the plus. All right. now that I have them in the view of all the devices for the tenant or client, I'm going to select all those that I just hit up, and I'm going to do a request audit. Now, let me see if running the job on this machine earlier was enough to knock it out of, yep, that was enough to knock it out of the software list. So this is Brill. This is freaking Brill. Now, I can't just look at the software list of those that I select, but in theory, because I just checked the status of 21 units, that's gonna leave, okay, 14 outside of that. So there should be like 14 units plus or minus a server that should have this Acrobat standard software on it. If I go to the site and then I go to software, which will just show me the software of that site, and then further I filter the software name by the Adobe Acrobat 11 standard, I only see 18. None of them are the machines that I was working on, except for one that was offline and a server. So some laptops. And ladies and gentlemen, it worked. Okay, so I have an RA server, but they're not really using it, a remote app server. Really, they're mostly using the gateway. They're using my gateway server to RDP into their workstations securely without having to pop any holes in my firewall. So great, and that worked. That worked like a charm. Let me know where you are, and we can do the rest of yours in a GIT, in the get 'em way. Get 'em, get 'em. Ghost in the machine. Get 'em. You know what that reminds me of? Oh my gosh. I tell you what. I remember playing Oddworld. Oddworld. Ended at PC 18. Okay. Oh. All done. All right, so so we should be at a place to activate the policy now. Okay, this is great. Okay, so here we are. We've only been working. When did she say she was ready? I mean, it was around 6 o'clock, and it's 6:15, and we've already pulled Adobe Acrobat from 31 machines. The others are done. No need to run any jobs. Most excellent. Most excellent people. Just coordinating with my coworker. Okay, so she's got one that she's doing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and activate policy. It would only, okay, yeah. All right, so now, excuse me. Can I cross through? mean, now that you can all... What is the cross through? They've made it so snazzy now. I can't remember what the short key is for strike. So we got this done. Oh. Let's see here. All I can make sure and verify. GP update. Reboot. Acrobat installs. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to the domain controller of the environment. And as far as this is concerned, this is done. We already know that all these stations have engagement installed. So now I'm on step 3, and this is what it's going to do. Okay. So it's going to force all the systems to recognize the software installation policy that is controlled, that's at boot up. It's a computer policy. It is going to set options for Adobe. Now, these options, the Adobe ADMX, first of all, they make it ridiculous to find it. I was telling Leroy, I was like, look, I'm about ready to pop somebody to get this. I'll do what I have to do. If I run somebody over, do I have to run over somebody to get to this? Let's do it. I found them. It wasn't enough. In the end, these settings, which I already knew this, these particular settings have to be set using registry settings. The ADMX. Now, theoretically, you could make the ADMX. I'm not going to spend any time making it custom. It's just not that important to me. So anyway, because worst case scenario, what I would do is I would fashion my Adobe policy the way that I wanted it. And then if I wanted to use it again, I would just export it from the environment in question, the environment that I, built it on. And then if I needed to use it someplace else, I'd import it. All right, so I am on the domain controller. I hear my Adobe Acrobat Pro install policy, which simultaneously sets settings. So it does the install, sets the settings. Okay, so right now, again, I had it in testing mode, which means that in the security filtering, perfect. The security filtering has listed the 4 machines that I was testing on that I wanted to make sure the GPO rolled out smoothly for software installation and for setting my application settings. Worked perfectly. But this, in general, is going to be a policy that should be set on all the endpoints at this given environment. Everybody needs Adobes. Everybody gets Adobes. So the additional setting that I did beyond the scope was within delegation. Under advanced, I added authenticated users there because I needed to remove it from the scope on the from the filtering on the scope tab. But I needed to make sure that it could read. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the scope. I'm going to highlight all of these workstations here. Well, actually, I can't do that. I have to remove them one by one. So I'm going to remove the delegation privilege. For these workstations, I'm going to add authenticated users. Authenticated users takes care of any user. It also takes care of any PC. You do not have to add computers to the list. I'll say that one more time. You do not need to add individual machines or a group for machines. If you're planning on just deploying this to an OU and everything in the OU needs it, don't touch security filtering. Leave it authenticated users. That covers users and computers. All right? The authenticated handle for your PC is that PC name with a $sign at the end of it. And you can tell that, like, when you've got like a share that's being accessed, like an installation like this, that's a computer installation. When it comes up, the way that I can confirm that things are actually able to get to my shares by going to the server where that data is shared from. Looking in computer management, looking at the open files, and I will see either in open files and or in sessions that computers are connected, and their user is their computer name with a $sign after it. So now I have got this scoped out right. No limitations. Oh, I need to double check. I'm going to go back to advanced on the delegation tab and make sure that my authenticated user shows to both be able to apply and to read this policy, and it is set as such. This is deployed over the OU wherein the workstations are sitting. Now, that has to be where it is, okay? You have to have it on the OU where the machines are sitting. I realized that I didn't realize that, I already knew it. But when I first got started with the policy and testing, I was like, why isn't this running? And then the default location for this organization, the default location for new computers when they're added to the domain is that default computers container. And so I had to move them into the OU where I placed the policy, and then it worked. All right, so that has happened. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do a GP update on all the machines in the organization. Best way to do that is to select all the machines. Now, you can do it through group policy management, but if you don't have management scoped out properly for the firewall, Windows management scoped out properly for the firewall, then it's going to fail on most of your machines. So if you're using a RMM like we're a Kaseya shop, just go into the list of devices, select them all, do a quick job, do an ad hoc. If you don't see it in the component library, then you should see it on the COM store tab, and you just add it in line. Go ahead and select that, and then run a GP update /force. And let me help you out with this. Where's my... Boop. I'm going to capture this real quick. I should be able to capture this without there being anything that is visible. Where's my... Alright. Alright. Let's get back to my... Show this to you here. I'm going to hide the notepad. Show the snags. Okay, so this is a quick job, the run ad hoc command, okay? And let me just spread this out a little bit. So you can see right here, if it's not listed right here, it's going to be in the COM store. You select it, you enter your command, you click run. And I'm running that against 36 devices. Again, ghost in the machine, okay? I am ultimately trying to put my hands on this machine as little as possible. She asked if I was going to mass reboot, and I said yes. I did a mass GP update first, and I think mass reboot is totes approps. Meet me at the app server to watch machine connections. Alright, so I am going to pull up that server. Let's see, what did we just take care of? We just did the GP update. Alright. In just a second, we're going to do the reboot. I am going to one of the machines that I did the GP update command to. I'm going to activities. I'm going to go to the activity, and I'm going to watch the progress of the activity. So far, it's only running on one machine. I'm going to copy the URL for that job, and I'm going to kick it to my coworker so she can monitor as well. And then I'm going to go to the app server where the installation is hosted. I'm going to connect to it. I'm going to connect to it using the agent browser. Again, like I said, because I'm a grown-ass woman, I prefer to use the agent browser to connect to servers. I may not do that with workstations. I don't do it with workstations primarily because they need to work while I'm working on their machine. Server is a completely different story. I want all the tools. Uh-oh, I got a failure. Oh, that's fine. That machine was offsite. What I should have also done, as well as to scope the install to, I should have scoped it. Like, okay, so when I was pulling up the machines in the RMM, just to have a working list of what I'm looking at to remote to them or run jobs against them in a controlled way. What I should have done, in addition to scoping it down to only the online systems, was I should have scoped it down to only the systems that are behind the public IP that is their home office. So I just ran this GP update against a couple of laptops that are out in the wild. So it's going to fail because it's not going to be able to reach the domain controller. I should have known that by the fact that I had 36 devices, when I know that's that's more than the number of devices that I'm actually managing this evening. Okay, so I'm waiting for the GP update for this to be done, and then I will reboot those pups. I threw GP update to a few machines that we are not working on. No bother. Alright. Coolio! We just have a few more that need to run. 2 more that we got here. 2 more running. 1 more running. None more running. Fantastic. They either failed or they didn't. Okay, so now it is time for a mass reboot. I'm going to go back to my curated list, and then I'm going to follow up with that scoping so I don't restart the wrong machine. So I'm going to go and copy the external IP address, and then I'm going to use that in the filter of that column. So then all I see are online systems that are specifically at home office. Now I'm selecting that group, and because of new additions that they've added to the menu, I don't have to go and do a job. I could just choose to schedule a reboot, and I will choose to do that reboot immediately. Now, as the system reboots, systems reboot and register, like they've already picked up on the policy, but as the systems reboot, they're going to read and apply the policy. The policy is going to direct them to the server that I'm looking at right now to basically run the install and a patch. So it's an MSI and an MSP that will be run at system boot. So this is brilliant. We started at about 6. Now, yes, this. Oh, you might say, oh well, it's so easy for you to do this. No. Okay, I'm showing you the end result of a lot of prep work that took as much time as this job should have taken. I chopped some time in half because I didn't take all the time to play, but I had to work out scripts. The act of automation, the act of implementing automation is not quick. Okay, so you put in the hard work during the automation and the planning and the scaling, so that when it comes to execution, you have a minimal amount of things that you have to do. You're wiggling as few knobs as you have to it makes your troubleshooting steps very narrow. So I know in the process of all this where I need to troubleshoot. We have done the reboots. Acrobat should be installing. Again, like I said, I'm going to refresh my open files. Yep, I've got at least one computer that is PC 17 is installing now. At least one machine that is picking up what we're putting down. Several computers are picking up what we're putting down. My God, why does this one machine have to have it open so many times? That's queer. Oh, it's going through all those files. Okay. Yeah, this is just beautiful. Those are all different files. All right. Man, I love this. I love this stuff. This is the stuff that I love to do. As a matter of fact, let me show you what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing within computer management. Let me get this ready for you. We gotta hide some stuff. Where's my blur? Okay, so this other stuff shouldn't be revealing. All right, so let's go back to my stage here. And if I show you my Snagit, what you will see is that within the confines of computer management, I go to my open files and I see all of these things open. I can't show you what it's being accessed by. That's where you'll see the computer names and the user names. But these computers are opening up all these files as they're installing Adobe Acrobat over the network right now. Okay? So that is what I am observing. And when that quiets down, I will then run another audit against the machines to see if I can make sure that that information is stored in the log, and I can see who's got Acrobat DC. All right. Okay. So what I can do is just minimize. Yeah, I'll minimize instead. Maximize, minimize, maximize. Okay. Okay. So again, we are waiting on the reboot. Here we got lots of machines doing the thing. I'm going to right-click the software of this particular tenant and open in a new tab. And then I'm going to change my filter from Adobe Acrobat 11 to Adobe Acrobat in general, because I just want to see what it's showing out there. Okay, so we've got 64-bit installed on a few machines. I didn't think about that. Got it. Alright. Gonna have to address those machines that are out of scope. Okay. We have some 64-bit installs. I forgot about those. Let me see here. This 64-bit, it's saying. So this has activities. So now I'm gonna just kind of tag these one at a time. Ones that I missed. I missed the removal of the 64-bit. That's a bummer. Yeah. I wasn't thinking about those that might have installed the new version on their own. Those are mostly, or the ones I have a button for, those are mostly servers. This is let's see. Oh my gosh, that's a beautiful pup. Okay, so I'm just gonna hit him up one at a time, Hit him up one at a time. Or maybe I'm wrong. Because I swear it says 64-bit. Nope. Maybe not. Just checked. Okay. All right, so there's one that was wrong. Oh, there was one setting that I meant to do. There was one setting that I meant to do, which was switching them over to from the new UI to the old. Let's see. Locker. Let's see. Who else? 64-bit. PCO5. LT08. 2503. Isn't that the one I was just on? I think we're good. Just looking at these numbers here. They are offsite or servers, or that one that showed 64, but when I logged in and checked was 32. Okay, so that leaves us with 641. That we did the reboots. We've got some Acrobat installs. Let me refresh this software account. Adobe Acrobat. I'm gonna do a request audit for all these 28 devices. Okay, requesting another audit to see if we can get an update. Good grief. Update to the software list. Also refreshing comp manager to see when the connections stop. Don't have too many left. Slowly getting smaller. Okay, I gotta tell you. Maybe it's just because I have my keyboard on a leaning. Like, it's like I always will drop my keyboard, drop my mouse. I'm writing, I click somewhere and then I drop my mouse, and it always drops on to hover on a window, and then that window annoys the shit out of me. All right, so I have another component. That component's job is to copy files. The plugins for PD flyers are in one place, and the files for the plugin for PD flyer are in one place, and the files for the plugin for engagement are in another. This script pulls files from both of those places and drops them into the plugins folder in the Adobe Acrobat installation location for the endpoint. So, once all of these connections chill, then, I mean, to be honest, we could probably run it anyway. And we'd see which units give us an error. I'm gonna go to the restroom, actually. I'll be back. smooth. Let's see. Where were we? File copies. RMM component. Oh. Not much open. Looks like our installs are done. Nice. All right, so now, let's see. Those files are a mixture of places. Some of them are here, some of them are in another server. I'm not gonna hover over computer management on both servers. Just one, probably. Let's see. Kicking the job for file copies. Print plugins. Now. Boop. And we're gonna do, actually we're gonna do a quick job because I have it in here as a quick job, and I can search Adobe. That I named this custom component configure plugins for Adobe. It's only available for this particular organization. Adobe Acrobat must be closed or it will fail. It's running now. I'm now going to select one of the machines. Go to its activities section and wait for this component to show that it's running. So all in all tonight, oh, I got more. What else does it do? It sets Acrobat as default PDF editor. And then I showed you the sec settings that it configures. It locks that upper half. Locks that upper half. Where are you? There you go. It locks this upper half up here. It adds a file path. There's a file path that's added for plugins that it authorizes. All this stuff stays editable, but it does the B lockdown. So it locks down all of this and makes sure that this is off. The reason I do that is because, and this company's using, let me see, let me pull up my IT glue. Let me see what version of PD Flyer they're using. Yeah, it's 11. So, I mean, it's not one of the newer versions. I don't know if its behavior is different under different circumstances. But I do know that if I open Adobe Acrobat and protected mode is enabled at startup, Acrobat crashes immediately. It won't even launch. In order to remedy that, I have to pull not the DLLs per se, but just the API file from out of the directory temporarily. And then I can load Adobe. I can manually disable that. And then I can put the plugin back in and launch Adobe without a problem. So is that troubleshooting? That troubleshooting was what I did manually on a machine, okay? So you figure out all the stuff that you have to do, and then you work on automating all those individual steps. Which is what I did. And let's get to that job. Let's check it out and see. We've got a failure. 2508. Its failure is that's weird. Every other place found it. Some of these machines shouldn't be offline. I got one failure. I'm not sure why a couple. We had two machinas that are offline. Let me see if I can use Wake on LAN through the agent browser to get them back on, because literally I was just on them. So what are we talking about? Because otherwise I'm gonna need to schedule a job that lasts like say 24 to make sure those files get copied when those units are turned up tomorrow. I'm connecting to agent browser to the one that failed. So the two that are offline, I'm keeping my eye on. I'm trying to do a Wake on LAN. They could just be there could be a pending up. There could be an update that's installing right now. I think there were several machines that had some Dell updates waiting. I do use my RMM to scan for available drivers and such, and then to automate the installation of those through the RMM. That's why I like keeping a Dell shop, because Dell makes some really good back-end management tools. It's a command line. It doesn't take a whole bunch. I can remove support assist or Dell support assist, which in some instances can really slow down your computer. And then just use the Dell update, not the universal. But then I can run configurations not configurations, but components from my RMM on a regular basis that scan for available updates, and then we'll apply them, reboot them if the job is run over the weekend, not if it's over the week, during the week. Okay, so I'm going to check out, I need to check out this particular system. It failed, and it failed because it said it couldn't find the source. Don't believe it. Where is this machine? Okay, so it's where it needs to be. I might just rerun. But the first thing that I'm going to check on is just to make sure that we're dealing, we've got the right Adobe. It's in the right location. No, we do not have the right Adobe. We have Adobe. We have Adobe, but something is wrong. I only see the plugins folder. Whose machine is this? Got it. Okay. All right, so let's check something out. I'm gonna do an IP config. I know you're on the right subnet. You've got the right DNS servers. I'm gonna restart this machine. It doesn't have the installation of Adobe. Pardon me. Alright, I did that audit. I should have already gotten something, but I'm still gonna go check the site, software under the site. I've only got 8 systems on the environment that have Adobe 11 installed still. Super neat. let's go back. Change this filter. Adobe Acrobat. Yes, yes. We've got 25 that show with the version. That we want. Have 7 show with the version we want. I could have sworn, but it's 64-bit. Adobe Acrobat 64-bit. It's still showing to be uninstalling. Got you. Okay, so we got an installation problem on this system. 508. I did a reboot of that unit. Let's check what's open. Accidentally closed a tab. Not bad. This gig is like 95% done. 95% done in less than an hour. It took a good amount of time in preparation. Really weird. So it looks like it's almost like it tried very hard to install the 32-bit edition. It only left, there's like remnants of it. I am formally removing 64-bit from this machine. So I don't mind a little touch-up, as long as I'm not having to do like massive amounts of work on every single system. For the most part, I believe we've got this automation down here. Let me find another machine. Let me go. I'm gonna pull. Let's take a look at this one. Let's go to activities. Let's go to software. Most excellent. Check this out here. That unit's restarting. Let's go. Again, thank you for joining me for the night shift. I'm working. Right now, what we're working on is not... I didn't mean for you guys to see that. That's why I gotta keep that stuff. This is what we're working on tonight. We are working on a deployment of Adobe Acrobat Pro. Good stuff. We had about 31 endpoints for an accounting firm. And we've been trying to automate. Well, we've been successfully automating this. We've had a couple of one-offs that I'm working on, but otherwise we've had a successful deployment of Adobe Acrobat Pro, specifically 32-bit installation because of compatibility with one of the apps that has a plugin that interfaces with Adobe. That product is PD Flyer. Don't ask me what it does. Okay, I'm a master of doing all this stuff. Not if we're using the applications that they're using. No idea how. I mean, this is an accounting firm, so it's accounting something. But that is not the nature of my involvement in this process. For me, it's about mastering Windows and the applications held within it. Let's see, devices on offline. That's possibly true? Why are these machines dropping off? Close this. Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna end up spending my whole 2 hours working today. PCO5. And just those two. Let's see what we got going on. Access by disconnected. What are we talking about? Okay. Still uninstalling. Over here, don't know what we're waiting on. Right. Looks like it installed it too. Weird. Everything we need. That's perfect. 2502, that's perfect. Perfection. What else we got? Let's looking at this software situation again. Gateway LTO3. Thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. It's been super fun. I should even be able to clip this. Well, actually, I didn't side record it, so I'd have to download it to clip it. Oops. It's an empty computer I use as a footstool. Empty computer case. Okay, I am bitter about these two computers that keep freaking turning off. That's a laptop. That's a laptop in the gateway. That's another PC. Why is that not? There it is. Okay. What? Oh my gosh. Maybe it was doing some updates. One of them has come back online. 402 has come back online. 2404 has not. PCO 5 has not. What was the status of 2405? Is it 2404? Did I take a picture of them? I did. No. No, I didn't. Okay. Just trying to get a wrangle on this angle. Okay, I think we're good with that one. I feel really good about this. Okay, so we're gonna need to do some updates on those. That's 29. I really wish they would show a generalized version. Like, yes, it's various versions, but in general, this is just Adobe Acrobat 64-bit. And not make it separate lists. It's freaking annoying. Okay, I feel good about this. The vast majority are running the 32-bit, those that are not appear to be laptops that are not going to be interfacing with that application, and or servers that won't be interfacing that way. Let me go. What was this? Plugins. Refresh this plugins job. This one failure. 2508. I went manually uninstalled 64-bit on that unit, and then I'm now using File Explorer on the back end of the system to confirm that within the plugins folder for Acrobat DC in the 32-bit directory. That makes me uncomfortable. Something's not right. Let's go back to this machine. Let's refresh this. Yeah, this is so not right. There's something wrong with this install here. I don't see all the files. I don't see everything that I should in the program files for Adobe. For 32-bit Adobe is the problem that I'm having. Like, I'm looking like in the Acrobat directory, there should be more than just the plugins folder, and the plugin folder's on my folder. I'm not finding anything. And I think this is the sister system that had the problem copying, but it said the issue was the source. But it looks like the issue is the destination. So I'm gonna check this out. Let's look at this installed application list. Again, having the spot check machines, no big deal. Having to spend all night installing and doing all the things, kind of annoying. This machine does not have Acrobat installed at all. I'm gonna restart it again. I think I already restarted it again, GP. However, the script for installation. Oh. This person's on the wrong. They're on wireless. They're not getting the install because they're on wireless, but more importantly, they're on wireless and they're on the guest network. I'm gonna open up network. God dang it. Okay, so here's how I'm gonna get out of this. Let's check and see. So Ethernet is not connected. Don't know why. Let's see, 2508. 2508 is connected to guest wireless JFC. All right, so what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to do two things. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy. Actually, let me see. Wireless. Manage no networks. Let me just see. HPNR. I'm going to check and see if I have their wireless documented here. I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself. So I can try to do this flip. They have LDAP wireless, which is, whatever. I'm gonna try to flip. It's the best I can do. Oh my god, and it stayed connected. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Alright, let's do this again. The problem here is The issue is, okay, let's say, so this is LDAP wireless, which means that your access to the wireless is limited to your login, your office, your domain login. So in pre-boot, that's not what you have. You connect to the guest. That's when I need my scripts to run. I cannot stand a poorly planned LDAP wireless implementation. I've got a couple that I really want to fix badly. Because when you've got engineers that don't think about what happens at the help desk, that's why I appreciate the fact that I made my way up from the bottom. Because as an engineer, I know what needs to happen on the help desk, which means I'm not going to implement a solution that runs my help desk into the ground. I'm going to implement a solution that's easy for my help desk to carry out, if at all possible. Sometimes there's no way around it, but at least you should have definitive steps and counter steps that are outlined. You go through all of the different things that could go wrong with this and outline how you could do it. Now, in some ways, your techs need to be techs. There's only so much that I can guide you through. If you don't know how to, do basic IT stuff, then there's nothing I can do to help you. I mean, there is, but I think you get my drift. If you can't do basic IT stuff, then perhaps you shouldn't be at a help desk. Now, the question is, when I log off, is this gonna... I did the GP update stuff, and it's asking me if I want to log off. The question is, if I log off, is it gonna make me lose my connection? So what I'm gonna try is I'm gonna try a restart. I don't like it. I think it's still gonna... I'm still gonna miss my install, is what I think is gonna happen. So, I'm gonna try a restart of this machine. This is gonna be the last bit that I'm gonna do this evening. This was successful. It was all successful. The unsuccessful elements were one-offs. I had one system that's wirelessly connected. Whatever's going on with their wired connection, it's not there. And I'm not showing I'm showing that the line is disconnected, so I think we might be dealing with a situation where there's no cable there at all. But I'll have one of my guys check on it. Oh, this is glorious. Oh, this is glorious. That may be why it appeared to have gone off for so long before. Oh my gosh, please. Yeah. Yeah. It's screwing me. All right, so for Denise, at this for this user, it doesn't really matter that I'm saying it's Denise. For this user, they reboot their system. It's on guest because you can't. It's not properly authenticating to the corporate pre-login, which makes sense. I wouldn't want my domain credentials used for wireless access prior to my having logged in. That's why I am against LDAP wireless on domain John workstations. On domain John workstations, you should really be doing certificate-based. It should be certificate-based, is what it should be. what I'm hoping it'll do right now is fall back to the wireless. I'm hoping it falls back. It may not. This is 2508. Okay, I think that's it. All right, so I would have to say that this is a raving success, a success. Even if a lot of the work was, like most of the work took place within an hour, within the framing of an hour. Our biggest concerns right now, what we're dealing with, is we've got a LDAP wireless pre-boot policy issue. Damn it. We've got an issue where there's a couple of machines dropped offline. And that's pretty much it. But otherwise, this was a successful deployment. I would consider this to be a successful deployment. Over 90% of our installations were successful. Our plugin files copied. Users are probably going to have to log into Adobe in the morning. But if they hadn't set up their accounts, they just need to go to adobe.com, log in with their email address. If their account is set up, it'll ask them for their password. If they don't remember their password, they can do a password reset. If they log in and they haven't set up their account yet, then they will be prompted to set up their account. They'll have to do a verification email, And let's see here. All right, this was great. This is great. Thank you for joining me. I truly appreciate it. This is great. Tonight's work was very productive. I didn't close any tickets, but I most definitely got some stuff taken care of. So, anyway, gosh, how far behind is my Twitch? I don't even know. That seems way behind. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for joining me. MSP Backline. You can donate at Cash App on Cash App at $ MSP Backline. You can reach out to me with any questions that you might have about any things that I did today at holla@mspbackline.com. And you can catch me on Twitch or on YouTube Tuesdays, Thursdays, sometimes Saturdays, but I haven't had one yet. Missed last Thursday. Sorry about that. But here I am starting the week out feeling a bit better, but I am eager to get home and get some dinner. Thanks all, and I will see you on Thursday.